How do you spell gorilla? 2 R's or 2 L's? Gorilla, gorilla. G-O-R-G-G-O-O-G-O! Just sit tight, Mr. Stevens. The gorilla will get you over our dead bodies. Dead bodies.
Wondered how they were made.
Right.
You dirty skunk!
Ooh.
My hero! Oh, shucks, that wasn't nothing.
You're convinced that the thing on this table isn't human?
Its cries are human.
Do you know what it is, what I began with?
No.
An animal? Well, we may as well discuss this frankly, now that you know the facts. I wanted to prove how completely she was a woman.
I'm not beaten.
everything ready.
For what?
This time I'll burn out all the animal around. I'll make her completely human.
Good evening, goblins and ghouls, and welcome to the show that's normally introduced as the Friday Night Scream Stream. I'm your host, Spakenstein. Whoop. And as you can see, I am flying solo tonight on this night before Valentine's Day. I'm normally joined by my very good friend, Mr. Evan Sink, the rad dad himself, but he's radding, he's dadding, duty called, and so I'm here, doing my radio DJ thing on this Thursday night. So I'm glad that you all could be here with me tonight. I see we got Alana and Wayne and Joe Cola and Jenna and Kathy and Jack all in the chat. Welcome everybody. Hope you guys are having a pretty good week so far. Again, not quite over yet. Usually when we're hanging out here in the Scream Stream living room, your work week is over. You're able to relax and unwind. And it's a special week because tomorrow's Valentine's Day. So, I know most people are going to be busy probably tomorrow night. So decided it'd probably be better to go ahead and get this week's episode, done a day early so that, you guys could join me. So I'm glad to see everybody, and hope your weeks are going good so far. Again, we're here celebrating Valentine's Day since tomorrow is Valentine's Day. You're gonna special. Sure, you had me, and you can't see the bottom of it, but you had me in stitches. So, see, I'm always trying to rock some kind of theme here with the get up, and that's just we have themes on this show. That's just what we do. Because we're not just celebrating Valentine's Day. We're celebrating the finale of our 12th season of the Scream Stream. Again, our seasons we have 4 years, so we haven't been doing it we're coming up on our 4th year. But this is wrapping up year 3, tonight's episode. So we're celebrating that, and as we always do with our special finale theme, and that is a movie starring the patron saint of this show, Mr. Bela Lugosi. And as you can see, tonight's film is the Death Kiss, and this is a good one. I haven't seen a lot of the movies. I think this is the first movie this season that I've actually seen before, and I don't want to say too much. I'm not even going to give you any plot details. If you haven't seen it before, you're in for a treat, because this, and what I can tell you is that this is a little bit of a reunion for the stars of Dracula, the 3 male leads, which would be, of course, the man himself, Lugosi as Dracula, but also the actors who played Harker and Van Helsing, respectively, are both in tonight's film. That would be Edward Van Sloan and David Manners. And so we got a little Dracula reunion. And I wish I had a Dracula shirt. That's the thing. I grabbed this and forgot I had it. So I was like, oh, it's on theme. But I wanted some kind of Lugosi. I don't have any Lugosi shirts. I don't have anything with like Dracula on it. I did. So I got some explaining to do, but you can see he's back there. He's over my shoulder at all times, as he should be. So we're he's with us in the studio. And I see Thomas in the chat. Welcome, Thomas. Hope you're doing well on this Thursday evening. I have to keep reminding myself, or I'm gonna forget. But yeah, this is a really good one. This is Lugosi in his heyday. This is the year after Dracula, filmed the year after Dracula was released, and distributed 2 years after that, so 33. But we're gonna be getting into all that tonight. I can also tell you it's a murder mystery. And if you joined us last week, it was a very unsatisfying murder mystery because we really didn't. The murderer was just a random person, and there was a guy who was somehow involved, but we never found out how. It was. There were no answers. You're never gonna find. That's not like a Scared to Death where you can watch it 50 times and try to find like some new interpretation of it. This was you were never gonna figure it out. So, yeah, right, Jenna. It might as well already be Friday, right? And if Scream streams live, it's Friday. That's the rule that we'll operate by. But you know, it was frustratingly hilarious. That's right, Alana. It was, it was just so absurd that you're just like, what? But we take it all in stride here on the Scream stream. We appreciate what we got, and we got movies to watch, and we also got drinks to drink because my co-host could not be here with us in the flesh this evening, but he, luckily we have a little something to keep him in our brains. That's the cocktail that he brings to us this evening, a little segment which he calls "What Were You Drinking?" And so this is keeping in with the Valentine's Day theme, and Evan always has a spiel that he gives, right? Like Evan's always got like his whole reasoning behind why he made the cocktail and everything. Yes, shout out to Angelo Rosito Thomas, for sure. I mean that, and don't get me started on Scared to Death. I'll go off on a whole tangent, as some of my viewers, regular viewers, can attest. I will go off. I love that movie too much. But, keeping in with the Valentine's Day theme, we got the Pucker Up, which is, it's a lot of reds and pinks and a little bit of chocolate. So, a little bit of, it's interesting. So this recipe calls for, and I want to make sure I get it just right, because he has a very big batch. Right. And he said you could half it, which I'm halving it, obviously. And right, Alana, I should just need to have that soundbite on standby. Him saying, "What are you drinking?" He says it, but I can't say it right. He puts the right inflections on it. So yeah, we are all, yeah, that's right, Thomas. Angelo Rosito, also in Dracula vs. Frankenstein, another movie that people say is terrible, but I enjoy it. Maybe it's probably because of Angelo Rosito. What am I saying? But this calls for a quart of cherry ice cream, 4 ounces of vodka, 1 bar of dark chocolate, and 1 cup of red dessert wine. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm not a wine guy, so I don't really, when he said dessert wine, I didn't know what that was. I looked it up, and I saw something that was under dessert wine, so one of this. Got my vodka over here. I already got my ice cream and my chocolate loaded up in this little blend jet here. Evan usually, so this is where Evan is always forward thinking, and he runs the blender cocktails before we go live, so that you guys don't have to hear the noise. But I got to fill some time with Evan not being here anyway, so we'll just enjoy the blender world together. Be a little ASMR. I won't put it right up to the microphone, but we'll be fine. But yeah, he usually he gets these prepped ahead of time. So I'm going to see how this goes. I believe this thing is charged. Hopefully, I would hate to run out. But you know, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And you know, Evan is the master. Like, he won't spill a drop. I got my shaky hands over here. And oh my god, it's bubbling. It's bubbling up. Should I be concerned? And that's a... Can't even see that I'm mixing it. But I just put in the wine. So now I'm going to put in the... And I'm not a wine guy. So the bar faces, I totally agree with Jenna. Wine is not... I'm not a regular wine drinker. But I can be picky on these recipes, but if it's an essential, as wine is in this case, you know, can't really substitute. So, but you know, wine and vodka, should make for an interesting mix. So I got almost all my ingredients. There's one more that you got to put on after you pour it. So make sure I close this thing. I'm just waiting for some kind of disaster, like lid to fly off, things to explode everywhere. All right, and I'll do it. I'll make sure you guys get a front row seat. All right. Oh no! Oh no! Let's see. Whoop. Okay. I think it's that chocolate. It's like too hard to break up. Oh no! Come on now. It's got to be the chocolate. Oh, come on. Maybe it's got to... I bet you I got to like set it on a flat surface or something like that. Hold on, let's see. Oh, come on! You gotta be kidding me. It won't do it. It's probably the charge. Yeah, you're right, Jack. That would really suck. Oh, no, it's... Well, now it's making a different color. It almost looks like it's blending... Or it blended. Oh, man, no. It's the dang... I can see the chocolate stuck in here. Let's see. Alright, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna open it. See, this is why Evan does it ahead of time. So that he can avoid... But, you know, this is the beauty of live. This is why I do the show live. So that if I do totally botch something, you guys get to see it in the flesh. And, my fingers! No, I'm just kidding. That would be terrible, wouldn't it? That'd be pretty messed up. Okay. I don't know. I'd like to think that I ungunked it. Let's see if that did anything. If not, I'm just gonna pour what we'll pour, and we'll just have to... No, it's not gonna do. Man! That is a bummer. Let's see. Yep, I'm just gonna have to solve it at the break. Sad. Shaken, not blended. I guess I could shake it, but it's you know, we'll see. I'll shake it, I'll pour it, we'll be fine. I'm not, you know, this is why Evan's... So when Evan was on his sabbatical, I didn't do any cocktails because I was like, I gotta leave it up to the master. And now we see why. Because because this is what happens. But it's all right, you know. I'll get it figured out, and I'll let you know how it is. I see. That's the thing, Alana. I was like, I'm gonna put in the ice cream in the kitchen. I won't even need a spoon. Now look at the idiot who could use a spoon. That's me. So I'm going to. You know what? I'm gonna do a little bit of this. Oh God. Okay, so what? Oh, all right. I see what's going on here. There's some chocolate that's really gumming up the works. Let's see if I can get it Oh God, there's no way I can stick my finger in here, can it? Oh, there we go. All right, I think that'll do it. Let me just see if this will blend. Now that I did that. Nope, that didn't do it. So I don't know. We won't worry about it too much. Because I've got something in my cup here. It's not blended, but it's a concoction to be sure. I don't know that it's gonna I don't know if it's gonna have the intended effect, but yeah, I should check. My dog definitely wants to bring. If he could open a door right now and get me a spoon, he would. It's not bad. Maybe it's just because I'm drinking like mostly like a lot of ice cream. But it's good. I don't, I wish I would have been able to blend it a little more. But it's not bad. I'm kind of surprised because I don't like wine. And I don't red. I've never been a big red guy either. I'm a big red guy, but not a big red guy, if you know what I mean. Got some alcohol there. I'll take another shot at it. See if I have time during the break. But we got to get this show on the road because we got a movie to watch. Again, that's why I leave it to the professional Evan. So I'm going to be seeing him this weekend, so I'll have to tell him about this fiasco. But we tried, and that's trying is half the battle. Yeah. Yeah, I should have just used chocolate sauce from the beginning instead of this chocolate bar. I think that's what got all gunked up. It's fine. It's fine. We've plenty to enjoy here, so we're going to enjoy it as we get into the Death Kiss tonight, which again, I don't know how many of you seen it. If you haven't seen it, you are in for a treat because we, throughout the 3 years of this show, it's crazy to even say that we've been on that long, but we have. But throughout the 3 years of this show, we've seen Lugosi in all stages of his career, which I just kind of group into his stardom and then the mid-career where he was doing the Poverty Row movies and then the end of his career with Ed Wood. And so we've kind of seen that and everything in between. And we've gotten more of the the later Lugosi than we've gotten Lugosi in his heyday. And, obviously, I'd imagine most of you have seen Dracula. That's peak Lugosi, to be sure. But, all the films that he made in the early 30s where he was really given a chance to kind of shine are of note. And even where he's kind of in more of a, even when he's in other roles, it's just good to see him like healthy and, really energetic and not because of the morphine, And again, there's a lot of misconceptions about, we're going to talk about Lugosi's love life tonight. If you don't know, it was messy. So we're going to be getting into that tonight. We're talking about all the actors, the show. We always get into some fun connections with the actors and the crew and all that good stuff. So we're very excited. And again, like I said, this is one that I saw, I guess when I was probably like 13, 14. As a part of a DVD, public domain DVD set. Have many. And there, of course, are many that are Lugosi themed. And I think I just put this one on not really knowing what it was about, not really knowing what to expect. And I was surprised. So if you don't know anything about it, then don't look anything up. Nobody say anything. Because it's fun. I think I'm interested to know what you guys think. I'm interested to know if it's what surprises you, what we'll see. So Right, yeah. I mean, you know, Lugosi, I mean, there's nothing like Lugosi when he's like in top form. And I'll let you be the judge. I'll let you be the judge of what this is for Lugosi. But this movie, it's pretty decent reviews compared to some of the other mysteries that we get on this show. Let's just say that from what I've read and then from my own experience, it's hard to guess who done it. So you can't ask for more than that. So, before we get into it, just to say, I think this will be fine on YouTube. But if we were to get, if they were to try to shut it down, if YouTube was to try to shut it down, then I'll give you guys the option of either we can keep going with the Death Kiss over on Twitch, or we can stay on YouTube and watch something that we, you know, that we've probably already seen, that we know is okay. And it'd probably also be something with Lugosi in it. But so those, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'll leave it up to you guys. We'll kind of vote. But I don't want to just, because, you know, we had that happen a few weeks ago. We just had to get off YouTube, and it was just you know, it's always a bummer. So if I could stay on YouTube and just have to show something else, then I don't have a problem with that if you guys don't. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the exciting beginning of The Death Kiss, starring Bela Lugosi, right now. Oh, so I didn't realize David Manners got billing over Lugosi. Which David Manners was Harker in Dracula. And Edward Van Sloan down at the bottom was Van Helsing. Van Sloan, Van Helsing. Van Helsing, Van Sloan. It's another Uma Oprah debacle waiting to happen. Yeah, this is an interesting Poverty Row pre-code murder mystery. So those are two things we love. Edwin Elmarin's got some other interesting credits. We'll talk about it later. Exit with a Kiss. Going out on top. Papers. Itch papers.
How are we going to know this guy? Remember, the men in Mike's car's got to see him, too.
Oh, never mind. I'm going to kiss him. And how?
Good. You might as well make him happy. It'll be the last pair of lips that he'll... him?
Nice.
You don't think he could have gone away, do you?
Here he comes now.
You gotta love the...
Thanks, handsome. I just couldn't pass you up.
It's assault.
Believe it or not, I never saw her in my life before. I must have
I do
overlooked
believe it.
something. Already shame, sir. Most annoying. Right under me very nose. Your nose. I'll get the car, sir.
Dang! Cold-blooded. Right on the street. Yeah, that's what I was waiting for a lot.
How's it for you, George?
Okay.
All right. We do it again, silk number 10.
Up high, 99.
Quiet.
Were you guys expecting that, if you haven't seen this?
Do you want to move in and take a close-up at the top of the stairs? No, that was terrible. I'll make it over. Yes?
No, that was terrible.
We'll do it again, folks. All right.
Classic director.
Move that car back here. All right, hold it. Come on. Hit him all into it. Take it easy.
Oh, Mr. Brendel.
When you die this time, let's have less gymnastics. And don't spin like a top when you fall.
Got him.
Come on, folks.
Burn.
What's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter? Stand back, everybody. What's the matter? Hey, Pete, call a doctor.
Come on, give me a hand. Let's get him to his dressing room.
Oh,
We won't need a doctor, George. He's dead.
Dead?
we need a coroner. Better get out of here. He's dead.
Round up every man that had a gun. Get the property man and find out who loaded those guns. And see that the body isn't touched. I'm going to phone the front office. Yes, sir. All right, everybody, line up over
Yeah,
there.
AD, what did you...
And all you
What were you doing?
stand over there. Hey, Bill.
Not your job.
Keep that door closed. And see that no one leaves the stage and no one comes in.
Dang, locking it down just like a director should. Hell yeah.
My dear Mr. Little, since I read your scenario, I've come to the absolutely conclusion that your name, Mr. Little, fits you something beautiful.
Got him.
And furthermore, and yet besides...
Yes? Oh, yes, Mr. Avery. Just a minute. It's Mr. Avery.
Tell him to finish on schedule. He's 2 days behind already. Talking to me is a wasting time.
But he says it's important.
That's the trouble. He's too important entirely. Hello. What? Brent. Shot. Dead. Oh, that's going to cost me a fortune. What a calamity. Quick. Call Steiner. Tell him Brent was killed. Shot. What a calamity. What a calamity.
Oh my god. Yeah, Thomas, we were originally going to watch Murder by Television, but with Valentine's Day, I said, let's get a little bit of the matter. There's the man.
How did I dare? Miles Brent. Killed.
On general principles, not a bad idea, except that he happens to be one of our stars.
Get back to your office and do what you can to keep the papers off this until you hear what happened. Don't give out any story until you hear from me.
Sure, but rescue me as quickly as possible. They'll be on my neck just as soon as the police get the joyful news.
Miss Manning. Phone the brigade on the lot. And tell them not to let anyone in or out until they hear from me. Thanks.
I mean, it is kind of cool to get a look at, like,
Hey, why don't you watch
how they're handling this situation, which, as we've known, can happen on a film set.
Miles Brent's been shot.
Well, now there's a job that should have been done years ago.
Oh.
You won't have to rewrite any stuff for the death kiss now.
No. Say, Marcia was on the set with him, wasn't she?
Sure, but I don't think she did it.
What stage?
3.
Drop this stuff in my office, will you?
Ding, 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 ding. God, don't you love the good old-fashioned, like,
Miles Brent,
way of sending out news, not on a
I've always
phone?
liked it. I have that kind of trouble, too. Come on, let's go.
All right, fellas. Here's something hot. Miles Brent killed. Shot. Soundstage number 3, Tone Art Studio.
Sure ought me.
Oh my God.
Tone Art Studio.
Operator. Operator.
Hey, that's the Evening Star phone.
You're telling me? Hey, Sloan, give me the journal, will you, please?
Hello.
Nice.
I want Pat Hill in the publicity department. Come on, snap into it.
You know me, Connolly. I never held out on the Evening Star yet. Yeah, I know all about your deadline. Yeah, you'll get the facts. Call me back. Never mind. I'll get it. Yes? Yes, Morris, I know, but can I help it? If he's shot in the morning, you've got to take those things as they come.
Ticker tape.
Yeah, I'm going
right,
over there right
that's
away.
right on
The
it.
police ought to be here now. Yeah, call me back in 10 minutes.
So the studio here that's doubling for Tone Art is Tiffany Studio.
Hey, come back here.
I don't see any lights on that car. You better keep them out. You got one cop guarding that door?
Ambulance coming. Yeah.
I have ears. What are you, some kind of detective?
Detective Lieutenant Sheehan, Homicide Squad. Who's in charge here?
I've been trying to get things straightened out for you. My name is Steiner, studio manager.
What happened?
Well, the company was shooting a scene during which several people fired guns at Brent.
And someone used real bullets, huh? People do get hurt that way.
That's the director's guess.
Oh, the director. Did he happen to guess who did it?
No.
Well, that's unfortunate. Looks like we'll have to do some guessing on our own.
Come on, Hill.
Yep, I guess so.
I tell you, I don't know.
Then let us in on the lot so we can find out.
I can't let anyone on the lot.
Marsha Lane was with him in the picture, wasn't she?
Sure, she was doing the lead.
CSI
Marsha,
Transylvania.
his ex-wife. That helps the story.
Hey, what's the name of the picture? The Death Kiss.
The death kiss. Gee, what a tie-up.
And how? Gee
I'll
Willikers.
be right with you.
But wait a minute. Can we get the angle on this thing?
Couldn't very well see what happened.
And there were 8 men with guns?
Yes.
Well, it might have been an accident, but...
Frank, you don't think it was murder?
Darling, I don't even know yet whether he was shot. Maybe he just died of old age. Maybe he never even existed at all.
What?
Now, you wait here. I'll just look around.
What is this, a David Lynch movie?
Your gun. Yours. You break it.
You break it.
Nothing but blanks left in these guns. Any other guns on the set?
That's all I know of.
Now, how exactly? I guess it seemed like it jumped, like we missed how he weaseled his
You
way
see,
in here.
Captain, it's strictly an accident.
Lieutenant Sheehan. What's your name?
Leon A. Grossmith. I'm the president of this concern.
Well, what about it?
Now, look here, Sergeant. Do you realize what this cost me already, huh? You have no idea.
This
It
is
cost me up
supposed
to
to be
now
like a parody of, like-
$239,351.
I mean, probably a few of the studio heads, but
Which also loses me money.
Samuel
I can't have no more
Goldwyn,
Brent pictures.
Now, pardon me, Lieutenant.
Kinda
Mr.
had some of these
Grossmith means to convey that this regrettable
And
accident
Grossmith,
need not be
Goldwyn.
converted into a Roman holiday for the rabble. Now, I assure you that Mr. Grossmith feels deeply, very deeply, the tragedy of this affair. And his point is, naturally, not to throw consternation into that great and unseen army of Mr. Brent's admirers. Now, that's precisely what Mr. Grossmith means.
That's just what I was going to say.
Mr. Steiner. Mr.
Yes,
Steiner.
That's pretty good.
What is it?
The papers are on my neck. I've got to tell them something. There's no use stalling any longer. They've got a story now about a mysterious woman.
Who is she?
They don't know themselves, but they say it makes a great story.
Tell him it was an accident.
They won't believe it.
And make him.
You don't know those
Make
boys.
'em.
They've got imagination.
I don't care if they've got fallen arches. Tell them the Brand shooting was an unfortunate accident.
Yes. Is that satisfactory to you, Lieutenant?
Nothing satisfactory to me. I can't tell what it is because I don't know myself.
Oh.
Here's all you had on him.
Oh. Keep that.
Yeah, we don't often see them looking through what the dead man had in his pockets, but that's makes sense. Oh. Dude, you're not even giving forensics a chance to step foot on the set. I can solve this mystery. Stupid police. He looks at you. I love the
Well, I'm
smoke.
sorry to
look.
come up the works, but it wasn't an accident. It's murder.
Murder? Oi! What a calamity.
How do you know?
This is the bullet that killed him. It's a .38 caliber center fire.
All the guns the extras used were 45s. And you can't fire a 38 bullet through a 45 gun. It's an old Chinese principle.
I don't know about that.
Where did you get this?
Out of the wall of the set.
Don't you know
That's
better
right,
than to
Jack.
meddle in police matters?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to meddle. I just wanted to help.
Yep.
You see, I like to dabble a bit
Makes
in
a lot
murder
of
cases.
sense.
Well, you just go and dabble someplace else.
All right.
Who is he?
One of our scenario writers, Franklin Drew.
Oh, writes detective stories, I suppose.
Yes. How did you know?
They always do. Well, this makes a difference. Looks like we've got a murder on our hands.
What?
Oh, you go and get that assistant director, that brilliant young man who said there were no other guns on this set. Right.
Looks like we've got a murder on our hands.
Who's Marcia Lane?
What? You don't know who is Marcia Lane? Over $1 million we spent advertising her, and you don't know who Marcia Lane is.
Where is she?
She was on the set just a minute ago.
Well, let's have a talk with her.
I'll ask Miss Lane to come here.
They got all the wisdom, apparently, Jack. Especially
Steiner
when you
and the
ask anybody in
detective
the
want to see Miss
1930s.
Lane immediately. Well, hurry.
I'm fluttering, sweetheart.
Mm,
Bill, tell Miss Lane
God,
Steiner and Dick want to see her.
Okay, Chief.
this would be the pre-code.
Oh, Pete. Rush Miss Lane over to Mr. Steiner and Dick. Now? No, next Tuesday, you sap. Oh.
I love
Come
how they're
on, get
showing
going.
the
All
chain
right.
of command here on the film set. The
Pardon me, Miss
on down the
Lane.
chain.
Mr. Steiner and the Dick want to see you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Steiner and the Dick sounds
What
like
can
a
they want with
detective
me?
show from the
Oh, they just
80s.
want to annoy you with a lot of routine questions? You see, they always question people like you first to give the guilty ones plenty of time to make up good alibis.
James Jenkins in the house.
Part of the
Welcome,
system.
James.
It's been
Hope
going
you're
on
doing
for
well
years.
this evening.
Sit down, Miss Lane.
Thank you.
I don't wish to be unpleasant, but there are a few questions I'd like to ask you.
Certainly.
How long have you and Brent been separated?
Oh, okay.
We were divorced last May.
Why?
Well, I don't quite
The
see.
divorce is a matter of record, Lieutenant. I don't think we need to go into that now.
Say, will you go up to your office and write bad little boy 500 times? When did you last quarrel with Miles Brent?
I don't remember.
Didn't you love him?
I wouldn't answer that, Marcia.
Say, just what is your interest in this case?
Personally, I don't care who killed Brent. But I would like to know how it was done. Besides that, I'm a friend of Miss Lane's.
Oh.
Wasn't your name mentioned during the divorce proceedings?
No. Sorry to disappoint you.
What did you do with your gun, Miss Lane?
My gun?
Yes.
I didn't have a gun.
Didn't you use one in the picture?
No.
But when you fired with the other...
As a matter of fact, if Miss Lane had
Scott
fired, she
in
couldn't
the
have hit him.
house.
She was
Well,
around
there
on the
are
other
a
side
lot
of the
of
set when this
J's,
took
Scott.
place.
Say,
That's
if
a
you don't
very
lay off, I'm going to take you
astute
downtown.
observation.
What for?
How do I know what for?
Oh, good. I was beginning to be afraid that you might say something sensible.
Just razzing this cop. Uh-oh, what's this craggly looking character up to?
What are you trying to do there, huh? Don't
Abe
move now.
Vigoda.
I got you surrounded. Don't lie now. What'd you try to hide in there, huh?
Why, nothing.
Yeah? We'll see about that. Hold this a minute. Wait a minute, wait a minute.
Come on
No,
now.
you don't. Yeah?
Oh, you gotta have some comic
yeah?
relief, right?
This letter, all ready to mail,
At least
was
he's
found
like
in Miles Brent's
effective.
pocket.
You just caught this guy in the act.
In this
That's
letter, he told his lawyer
something.
that Marcia Lane refused to sign a release as beneficiary of his life insurance policy. So you stand to collect $200,000.
Miss Lane's lawyer wouldn't let her sign the release. I know all about that.
Say, it's too bad you weren't the one that was shot. So that gives you a pretty nice motive, doesn't
No funny business now. Come on now. Come on, keep moving now. There's your man, Chief. I caught him red-handed. He was trying to ditch his gun. Look, it's loaded, too.
I tell you I did.
Yeah, just
Put the bracelets on him, Owen.
Now, ain't that
tie
astounding?
fire eagle
Something
in
told
the
me to take a
house.
squint
Welcome,
around.
Ty.
I sees him trying to ditch his gun, see? And I puts two and two together. I says to myself, that's the man. I guess I used uncanny skill.
38 caliber and loaded. It's the gun, all right.
Is
Who
it
is this
Carlo?
fellow?
Name's he was an extra on the set.
Why did you kill Brent?
Oh, I never killed nobody.
You can't alibi yourself out of this. That's the only .38 gun in the place. You killed him. Why?
I'll tell you I didn't. Now, you gotta listen
Shut
to
up.
me.
You'll have plenty of time to talk later on.
What? Oh, come on, dude.
Do you know this man?
Why, yes. Everyone on the lot knows him. He was head electrician here for years.
How much did you pay him to kill Brent?
Now, wait a minute, Lieutenant. Why not pin the murder on the murderer? That's not against the rules.
What are you talking about?
Chalmers didn't kill Brent.
Well, how do you know?
This gun hasn't been fired.
Nice.
How did this gun come to be loaded?
I loaded it for Brent, but I lost my nerve.
So you had planned to kill Brent, huh?
Yes, I wanted to
shit.
kill him. I had every reason in the world to kill him.
But he made no attempt. So you can't arrest him. Not unless you want to make a fool of yourself.
You know, I'm beginning to think you're giving us the razz.
Prove it. You're a detective.
He's been giving you the
Take 'em
razz
off,
the whole
Milliker.
time, bro.
And maybe we'll put them on him.
Well, we seem to be right back where we started.
Yes, perhaps you have some very valuable suggestions.
Yes, I have.
What?
The cameras were photographing when Brent was killed. There might be something very interesting on the film. It wouldn't hurt to look.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I mean...
How soon can we see the stuff?
We could get a print in, say, 3 or 4 hours.
Well, will you get them going?
Oh, certainly. Come, Mr. Grossmith.
All the days of film. Don't you love it?
You take the name and address of every person on this set and warn them all about trying to leave town.
Right.
In any of your books, does the detective ever sock the novelist on the nose?
No.
Write it in sometime. Seems to me like a good idea.
Bill, George?
God, I got him right back. Very nice. Tit for tat. Cops and writers, just natural enemies.
Marcia.
Oh, Frank. It won't be very pleasant to see it all over again.
But
That's right, Joe. Yep, gotta send it over to Eckerd's.
Is everybody here?
I think so, Mr. Grossmith.
Mr. Steiner's in a projection booth. He'll be right in.
All right.
Here he is now.
You ready, Mr. Grossmith?
Yes.
Mr. Grossmith's ready.
Oh my God. All right.
Quiet, please. Quiet.
And I'm sure you can see these little...
All right, turn him over.
A little bit of tinting here. I've got some more information on that later. Let's see if there's anything in this footage. Other than just being a terribly stiff and wooden tape.
Right here.
Thanks, handsome. I just couldn't pass you up.
Believe it or not, I've never seen her in my life before. I must have been overlooking something. Oh, ruddy shame, sir. Most annoying. Right under my very nose. Your nose? Oh, I'll get the car, sir.
All right.
Lights! Lights! Turn on those lights!
I wonder what that was. Wait, did you see that?
You gotta love that. Just it's subtle, but the tinting is. Oh, it's all it took is a little ciggy.
It's not hurt badly, but...
Who? Okay, which one of you guys put your cigarette butt in the
Looks like it was done with
projector?
a blunt instrument. You know, I had an uncle once was knocked out the same way, only he got hit with a shovel.
Whoever rocked your cradle overdid it. A rouge-tipped cigarette butt started it off.
I think spending time at the studio is making this detective
Hard to say.
snappy.
Perhaps our makeup man could tell you.
Thanks. How did it happen?
I swear I don't know. I was leaning over the machine.
Yes, Scott, very
Checking the
flammable, and
pulse.
I've got information about that.
I thought the building came
As
down
well.
on me. How about another print?
Yes, and we'll take care of it this
Concerning
time. There was something on it.
maybe the
And whoever
original
touched it
print
off
of
didn't
this
want it to be seen.
We can have the laboratory run one off right away. Could we, Mr. Goldsmith? Why, yes. There's no reason why we
Bella
couldn't.
flubbed the line.
Will you come with me?
No, Hilliker will go with you. I have another angle.
It's all right. It's all right.
Where did I find this
They were able to
makeup
use the tape.
Makeup department? Clear around the other end
Even
of
when
the
he
box,
flubs
at
the
the
tape,
end
they
of
can still use
Sounds
it.
like a sleeper jump. Thanks.
And that is gonna take us to our first break. Apologize for my fat fingers. Well, we're a third of the way through The Death Kiss, and so far, I would say, you know, the mystery is clearly off to the races. You know, anytime that, you know, okay, yeah, we got to investigate the scene, we got to interrogate the suspects. So, you know, it takes a while to go through all that. But then, you know, what's different with this mystery from like any other mystery that we've seen is it was all on film. So getting to view the footage was interesting, but somebody sabotaged it. So clearly the murderer is in their midst and trying to elude discovery. So we will see exactly who's behind this. And obviously our amateur detective, the writer, he's gonna he's gonna try to solve this for the police, but you know, obviously the detective in charge is not going to take anything lying down. So we'll see who comes out on top here. But it's, you know, again, I mean, this cast is full of people that, you know, were in at least one horror movie of note at some point in their career. Like even the detective, whose name is Sheehan, he's played by an actor named John Ray, who I guess earlier in the year that was filmed was in Dr. X from 1932, playing one of the doctors that's a part of Dr. X's academy. He's the one who's like he's looking at a naughty magazine when the police interrogate him when he's a murder suspect. So it's funny, like he plays this very like bookish scientist in that film, and now he's playing the exact opposite character here, a cop. He's doing a very good job of it. And yeah, Joe Columbo would know. And our studio cop, Gully is what they'll call him later, played by an actor named Vince Barnett, who was actually an early Impractical Joker type of guy. He was a professional practical joker who was hired to like go to big events and parties and like do shtick in front of everybody. So he would go and insult people, and he'd do a fake accent and pretend to be somebody of authority and insult people, and he'd do slapstick, he'd spill stuff, and he'd drop things. And apparently some of his victims included Franklin D. Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, Henry Ford, and Charles Lindbergh, which that's a group right there. But yeah, that was like how he kind of got I guess reputation in Hollywood initially. He like started as a writer, obviously in comedy, but was a professional practical joker. So pretty every age has gotta kind of like have something like that where, somebody who literally figures out, I'll just pull pranks on people and it'll be really funny. And only in this day and age, it's not even being filmed. You're just doing it for the amusement of somebody at the party who's hired you. So that's a, that's a pretty like good way to get into a career. And he's actually been in a couple other Lugosi movies. He was that we've seen on this show. He was in The Corpse Vanishes, playing a photographer. There was the main character in that was a female reporter, and so he was her photographer. And then Barnett was also in Bowery at Midnight, which we saw earlier in this a couple seasons ago, I guess. And he played one of the vagrants that ends up being used for crime and then murdered by Lugosi. No spoilers there. I mean, he's one of the early victims, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Scott, if you haven't seen Dr. X, I highly encourage you to see it, especially like the restored color version, because it's, the color obviously makes it feel more recent than it is, but also just the striking design, like the 2-strip Technicolor they use in that is like, it accentuates greens. And so there's a lot of like just heavy greens, a lot in like just different shades of greens. And green's my favorite color. Frankenstein, you can tell. But green is like really kind of a big, like kind of a dominant color in that movie. And you don't see that in like even horror movies nowadays. You don't see where just this one color is kind of like being used in an unnatural, like stylized way. I like style, like things that are really overly stylized. So if you would like things that are overly stylized, you'll like, and yeah, Mystery at the Wax Museum is also, it's in color, and it's the original version of the House of Wax story that was, filmed as House of Wax with Vincent Price. It was based on Mystery at the Wax Museum with Lionel Atwell and the Vincent Price role. And the movies are pretty beat by beat similar up to a point. There's some pre-code stuff that you couldn't get away with in the Price version. But yeah, I mean, it's, again, every time that we watch a movie like this, you're always in the cast, somebody that's playing a non-horror role. You can usually search in their filmography and find at least one other horror thing of note, something we've watched before, that we've talked about before. We've shown, excuse me, we've shown the trailer for Dr. X many times. And then of course, like, the other two actors of note outside Lugosi that we've seen are David Manners playing the amateur detective / screenwriter, and Edward Van Sloan as the director, Tom Avery. And obviously Dracula was kind of opened the door for other horror roles for all three of these actors. But so that's the first trailer that we're going to see during the break, is for Dracula. It's a re-release trailer. And it's funny because, I didn't really ever notice this. But, Edward Van Sloan, you can tell in tonight's movie, he looks very young. You'll see in the trailer for Dracula, it's like that old age makeup is really good, because I always just thought he was really old. And obviously the Van Helsing does that, but even when he was in Frankenstein, playing Dr. Waldman, I mean, you just think, God, he's really old. He was born the same year as Bela Lugosi. He and Lugosi are the same age. So that was a shocking fact to me today. I think I had seen that, realized that a while ago, but just thought that'd be of note to everybody, because you're just like, wait, what? They're the same age? Yeah, they are. And then the second trailer we're going to see is for the big Universal horror movie that Edward Van Sloan and David Manners were in after Dracula, which is actually just kind of a rehash of Dracula, and that would be The Mummy from 1930. Obvious Boris Karloff role, but if you go back and look at it, it's really just rehashing Dracula. The Mummy and the Mummy, Ardeth Bay is just Dracula. I mean, really, he is. And Edward Van Sloan is playing a similar character that he played in Dracula, and so is David Manners. So The Mummy is one of those that, it's a very solid movie. Like, it stands on its own, but Universal definitely was just kind of trying to piggyback off of Dracula by essentially doing the same story, just kind of putting in their other big horror star. And, again, much to Lugosi's chagrin, but we'll talk more about like Lugosi's career around this time and also his love life around this time later. And I've also got some interesting info about the tinting, which we saw there in the screening room scene, and we'll see a little bit more of that later on. Kind of an interesting little effect, but we'll talk more about that after the break. So we're gonna enjoy these two Universal horror trailers, and then when we come back, we're gonna get into the exciting middle of The Death Kiss. So stick around, we'll be right back. Ah!
I am Dracula.
A moment ago, I stumbled upon a most amazing phenomenon. Something so incredible, I mistrust my own judgment. Look.
Dracula. The very mention of the name brings to mind things so evil, so fantastic, so degrading. You wonder if it isn't all a dream, a nightmare.
Rats. Rats. Thousands. Millions of them.
But no, this is no dream. This is Dracula, the original terrifying story of a maniac and a man who lived after death, lived on human blood, took the form of a vampire bat, and lured innocent girls to a fate truly worse than death.
Dracula? Oh, what's he done to you, dearie? Tell me.
He came to me. He opened a vein in his arm, and he made me drink.
Death, eternal punishment for anyone who opens this casket.
The mummy. Is it dead or alive? Human or inhuman? You'll know. You'll see. You'll feel the awful, creeping, crawling terror that stands your hair on end and brings a scream to your lips. There's nothing on earth like the mummy.
You will not remember what I show you now, and yet I shall awaken memories of love and crime and death.
Now I know his horrible plan. He is going to kill her and make her a living mummy like himself.
And we are back. So that was the trailers for Dracula and the Mummy. And yeah, I mean, I love all the Universal horror movies. I mean, obviously Frankenstein's my favorite, but you know, I mean, I have soft spots for, you know, I like equally, you know, to an extent with Dracula, the Mummy. I mean, they all have their merits. They all have their strengths and, to be sure, their weaknesses. One of the interesting things that I learned about Dracula today, and I guess about Frankenstein too, but through my research with this film, maybe what a lot of you didn't know, but apparently when Dracula was first released, in some areas where it was released, it was tinted green. And apparently Frankenstein too. There were some of the initial releases, the print had a green tint to it. And, you know, and this was at a time where apparently Kodak was printing like special, like stock that already came tinted, that you didn't have to like do the chemical process yourself. And apparently those early horror films were released on tinted green stock. And you can totally see it. Like 100% makes sense. And Thomas, you're right. The real art movies, like I think with the re-releases in the 50s, you're getting like prints of negatives, right? Like it's just all this like, so you know, dupes of dupes, whatever, and you're just getting a black and white print. But apparently, you know, that was done to add, you know, kind of an eerie effect, and you could totally see it. And I think, you know, obviously we saw the tinted sequence earlier in this film, and that was done by hand, actually by a Dutch artist named Gustav Braque, Dutch watercolor painter, and he had a talent for tinting and hand painting tints onto film. And again, you know, that's the thing, you could use chemical processes or you could use hand painting in order to tint, as opposed to just getting like that was how you had to do it before you could get a pre-tinted stock. You had to kind of do all these chemical processes. So he did that for this film, and also for another film that we've seen on this show, The Vampire Bat from 1933 with Lionel Atwill. And that, if you'll remember, there's a sequence where they're chasing another Dracula connection. They're chasing Dwight Fry's character Herman to this cave, and probably Bronson Canyon, and they've got torches, and the fire on the torches is all orange. It's all like bright, vivid orange, and that was I believe that the prints that we see now, that was digitally done, or maybe it was done in the present day, but it was based on the original tinting that Gustav Braque had done when The Vampire Bat was first released. And yeah, Joe, that's a great question. Did they, like, I don't think he had to hand color every print, but I do believe that every print had to be hand colored, because they apparently tonight's film, The Death Kiss, was supposed to be released on Christmas 1932. It was produced in 1932. It was supposed to be released Christmas 1932. It wasn't released until January of 33, and that was because they delayed it to hand color tint the other prints, because they did like a test screening, and apparently the hand color tinting went over really big. And so they're like, okay, well, now we got to do this on every print. So that delayed the initial release. So that's kind of like a cool little, kind of fun fact about this movie. Again, you never know what you're going to find out. As I said later, we'll get into more about our man, Mr. Lugosi, and, you know, his life around this time. We'll talk more about other actors and people involved. But, yeah, I think Alana... I think those were hand-colored, yeah. I can't remember if they shot... Maybe they shot, like, him coming down the stairs in Technicolor, and then, like, when he's up on the statue, I think it's so there's hand-colored stuff in the Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, I believe they did use hand-colored tinting for sure. Yeah, I mean, and like Scott says, like, that, you know, that was just a popular thing even outside of film, like postcard, you know, it's just kind of a thing that, you know, add a little bit of pop to that static black and white image. Yeah, so it's funny. I mean, I think that I think that the like green tinting, just straight green tinting of Dracula and Frankenstein, might have been a little too gimmicky. I'd be interested to see what that would look like, but you know, you gotta love just the good old black and white. But yeah, I mean, you know, again, I think, and we will see more of those hand tinted sequences later, so be on the lookout for that. I guess, anything. See, this is usually the point in the show where I ask my co-host anything before we get into it, Evan. But yeah, I mean, I think that as we've seen, murder has been committed, and now the murderer is trying to cover his tracks. And you know, who's going to catch him first? Is it going to be the wily amateur detective / screenwriter? Or is it going to be the irascible but wizened detective? I don't know. We shall see. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and get into the exciting middle of The Death Kiss right now.
It's a special panchromatic rouge of my own make. Only 2 people on the lot are in the habit of using it.
Who are they?
Miss Collins and Miss Lane.
Who's Miss Collins?
She's one of our players.
Is she in this picture you're photographing?
No, I believe she's working in the Night Riders. They're out on location.
That's right,
The
Jack.
only other person on the lot that uses this rouge is Marcia Lane?
As far as I know.
I see. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Now, wait a minute.
You're welcome.
You have quite a stock of this rouge on hand, haven't you?
A few tubes of it.
Just as I thought. Anybody could get at it.
Not very well. All the makeup that is not in use is kept in the cabinets.
And the cabinets are locked?
Yes. Excuse me.
Nice.
Hello.
Yeah, Alana.
Just a minute.
Hey, go for it. That's multitasking.
Hello.
I'm all for it.
Yes, Hilliker. How? All right. You stick around there and see what you can find out. Tell Steiner I'll see him at his office. The negative of that last scene has been ruined. Someone poured acid in the container.
This thing gets more muddled every minute.
You telling me? How do I get to Steiner's office?
I'll show you.
Thanks. And you're not going with me.
Yeah, it's funny seeing Edward Van Sloan with, like, you know,
Right
like,
to the street.
not gray or white hair.
Oh, Lieutenant. Of course you know that anybody could have taken the rouge from Miss Lane's dressing room.
Sure. A very interesting detail.
There you go, Scott. That's some good multitasking.
What do you make of it, Drew?
Got me. It's more of a mystery than anything I ever wrote.
What I can't understand is why anyone should want to murder Brent.
Jack.
Now, if it were a supervisor.
I don't see why anybody wants to murder anybody. It's a silly idea.
The print is ruined, man.
Yes, why not?
It's been soaked in acid, man.
Marcia? Yes. Oh, say, Tom, if you see her, don't say anything about that cigarette business. It'll only upset her.
No. Of course not. If I can help you, let me know.
Thanks. Has anything been moved on the set?
No. Police instructions were to leave everything undisturbed.
Well, I'm going to have another look around. I want to find out just how he was murdered and with what gun.
Yeah, I got an idea how Brent was killed. You want to hear it?
Some other time. Better go home and sleep it off, Chalmers.
No, that's what you think. Chalmers don't know anything, huh? Well, listen. I've been on the set and I've been seeing things.
Yeah, snakes and pink elephants, I'll bet.
All right. Be smart, huh? Be smart. Now listen, you're gonna come to me later.
Oh, I'll see you in the morning. Go on home.
This is David Lynch.
You boy, everything the cash is take and drink it.
Yeah. Want to have a look around with me?
No, I'm not much of a detective.
R.I.P. by the way, poor one out for Good Man.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Good luck. Hope you solve the murder. I need to get back to work. I'm trying to make a movie here. He's got to, I guess he's retracing the steps. Trying to figure out where he's trying to do ballistics, I guess. Figure out where it was fired from. Ballistics. Oh, bingo. Jackpot. Oh, shoot. It was a butler. I could see in the reflection it was definitely a butler. Just, I could make out the, you know, starched collar and uniform. Hey,
he's someplace on the lot. Bring him here.
I think very, very good, Jack.
Mr. Drew. Mr. Drew, what happened?
We get a little raunchy here on the Scream Stream sometimes. We go with it. We go a little
swell, ain't it?
PG-13.
Made it myself.
R, soft R sometimes.
Who's in there?
It's all right, Sheehan.
What's going on now?
Plenty. I found the gun that killed Brent.
Where?
Right here in this lamp.
Bro, come on now.
Why, it's gone.
It's a cool
so
shot.
It seems. Probably got tired sitting there and decided to take a walk.
No, I'm not kidding. I came down on the set to have a look around. Just by accident, I noticed this smudge on the lamp here. So I looked inside. Found a small derringer fastened there, attached to an electromagnet. There's the wire it was connected to. And I got a bump on the head that knocked me out.
Attached to electromagnet?
Well, this proves one thing. Whoever killed Brent knew a whole lot about electricity.
Yeah, that's a very good question,
of these lamps?
Jack.
Head gaffer.
Well, what's that in English?
The chief electrician.
Who is he?
Al Payne.
Where can I find him?
Here, Tom will take you over.
Come here, kid. Let me take a look at that head. Now, that's all right. Now, listen.
I'll just give you another...
You stop monkeying around with police matters. It's a tough racket. That head of yours won't stand another wallop. Come on, let's get going.
You know that's not going to deter him.
Mr. Drew, I've been thinking.
No.
Yeah, the first thing I ask myself when I investigate the murder is, who done it?
Well, that sounds logical.
And the next thing I ask myself is, who could do it?
And then?
And then I ask myself again, who wanted to do it?
And how do you answer yourself?
Well, I ain't come to that yet. You take Chalmers, for instance. He didn't like Brent.
Well, why should he be an exception?
He didn't like Brent on account of Brent had him fired.
When was this?
A couple months ago, when Chalmers was head gaffer, they had an argument.
Head gaffer? Yes, Chalmers is an electrician, isn't he?
Chalmers,
Chalmers
was
had
the
a couple
head
of drinks,
gaffer,
and him and Brent
then
had
he
an
became an
argument.
extra?
Say,
That's
Gully.
a weird
You are a
pipeline.
first-class gumshoe.
Investigator.
All right, investigator. Right now, will you run up to the casting office and investigate and find out where Chalmers lives?
Sure. What are you going to do? Put the finger, apprehend him?
Maybe. You want to come
Put
along?
the finger...
Oh, boy, I'll say.
Got a gun?
Where now?
Oh. Got my gun, my badge, and my
Well, you
bracelet.
wouldn't need those.
Put the
Come on,
finger
let's get
in him.
going.
I mean on him.
The director hasn't anything to do with it. The cameraman really sets the lights.
You mean he tells you where to put the lights?
Yeah.
When was this set lit?
The afternoon before. They rehearsed the scene with the principal so they wouldn't hold the company up when they called the extras.
Do you remember
I guess if
anything
you're a
particular about
comedian
that
at
one
this time,
light?
you could get away with the
truthful with
Hitler
you.
stash.
We had a lot of arguments on
right,
that
Jack?
set.
I think that's...
Mr. Steiner didn't like the photography and he
We all
wanted
know
more
Chap.
light.
Steiner? Was he there when it was rehearsed?
Yes.
Who else?
Well, they're all there, with the exception of the extra people.
There were no extras there, huh?
Oh, sorry. My fat finger hit the wrong button. There we go.
You know, he's a sort of a privileged character around this lot. He used to be our head gaffer.
Chalmers used to be an electrician?
Yes. Miss Lane felt sorry for him and made Mr. Avery give him a bit in her picture.
Oh, Miss Lane got him the job.
Yes.
Could you give me the address of the cameraman and Chalmers?
Sure.
And by the way, if a writer by the name of Drew asks you anything, don't answer him.
Drew? Say, do you think he did it?
Well, you can't keep
Don't
me from
help
hoping.
this guy. This is my beat.
This is it.
We did 20 takes and that was the best one. Oh, shoot. What did she...
Look, that Chalmers is in trouble again.
Do you wish to see Mr. Chalmers?
Yes, is he in, Mrs.
Miss Potts. And I don't know anything at all about his comings and going. Doesn't he answer the bell?
No, he doesn't.
I was just going in. Cleaning day today, you know. I suppose he's lying stiff and the place all cluttered up with gin bottles.
Let's go in and have a look around, Captain.
And
sorry, he's
tenants,
lying. What?
Guests, I mean, though. He wasn't so bad until he lost his job. Then he started acting queer like.
See? I told you.
I laid down the law to him. I said, Mr. Chalmers, my bungalow court isn't an alcoholic ward. As I thought, drunk again.
Passed
well,
out.
This is the end. This is no Keeley cure. Out he goes. I'm sick and tired of his carryings on.
Uh-oh.
Fellow's dead.
Dead? Well, he didn't think of me. No, not him. I suppose my 28.50 back rent has gone up the flue.
Welcome, Katya.
Did I have Chalmers spotted? All I did was ask myself, who done it?
Poison, all right.
You're going to say that 5 more times.
Boy, that guy would drink anything that wasn't too thick to chew. Well, I guess this about
Can't
washes
read
up
it.
the case,
I
Mr.
just
Drew?
can't. I'm not
It's
even
like
going to try.
suicide to you, eh, Gully?
I knew they weren't going to give me enough time.
I guess Shin would think so, too.
He may be dumb, but he ain't blind.
He's not as dumb
Remember
as he
last week, they gave us like
You wear a
2
wristwatch,
minutes
Gully?
to read that now.
Huh? Wear a watch on your wrist?
And it took me that long,
Well,
too.
you see, it's a present from the wife. I gotta wear it.
Why do you wear it on your left wrist?
Well, I use my right hand the most, because I'm right-handed.
Did you ever try to write with it on your right wrist?
No.
Neither did Chalmers. Which makes this note a very interesting piece of fiction.
Oh, okay. That's a good eye. Those are the things you got to look out for on a crime scene. Of course, you know, the cops be damned. You're going to solve this crime first. Why does your handwriting look like that? Look like what? This is cursive. What? Again, we talked about this last week. Kids today, they won't know cursive. It's kind of terrifying. So, you know, when we try to read it now, we're having trouble. Imagine those kids that can't even, you know, can't read it, can't write it.
Say, Gully, come here. Take a look in here. Now, what do you see?
Yeah, the cops are like, we're going to
Bottle
give
of
you
gin and a
guys
piece of
a
ice.
chance to solve this
What
mystery
else? Use your powers of
for us."
observation.
Oh, you mean that piece of wilted lettuce in there?
Don't you notice that little service door in the back has been left open?
Whatever. The iceman probably left it that way. My wife says you can't trust those icemen anyway.
If the iceman had left
You
that little
can't
door
trust
open when he
the
put in
iceman.
the fresh cake, there wouldn't be any ice there now.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Let's have a look outside.
The Iceman. Sounds so. Could you imagine? You know, you see the milkman, the newspaper man. Now you got the little paper boy, I guess. You know, you got the Iceman. That's right, Jack. That's all. That's how kids will get it.
Someone must have stood here a long time.
Them are fresh prints, ain't they?
Step up there a minute. Look out for those tracks.
Now what?
Look through the window.
Nope, they can't.
You see Chalmers sitting there?
Yeah, the door's open.
It is terrifying. It's scary, kind of shit, for sure.
Supposing someone stood here and Dr. Chalmers' gin through the icebox from this side.
Welcome, Wolfcat. Yep, pretty
Then
good so
stood
far.
here.
Enjoying the death kiss.
And watched him drink his last drink through the window, what would you say?
And then watched him die. Went in and wrote the note and put the pencil in his hand, huh?
Yeah, only there's where he made his mistake. Put the pencil in the wrong hand.
That's just what I was thinking.
Really?
Golly, you know, if a car was parked here, it would entirely conceal that door and that window.
Yeah?
They're dungarees. That's right, Scott.
Then Chalmers didn't kill himself, huh?
Let's leave that to Sheehan. If I'm any good as a guesser, he ought to be
What
here
a
by now.
maroon.
Stuffed over on the table.
Yeah, huh? Don't let Sheehan know what we found out.
I got you. The captain got here 15
He's gonna
minutes
be
ago.
pissed to see you here.
What are you and that Keystone cop doing here?
Now, looky here, Shane, you can't talk that way about me. Remember, I'm chief of the studio police, and I got rights.
Nature in the raw.
Here's another
Yeah, he's got the jurisdiction, right?
Everybody around here seems to know more
He's-
about police
he's
matters
the
than
head of the
police.
studio
It's noble of you
cops.
to admit it.
Did you two nuisances touch anything around here?
Nothing important.
Good, then clear out. And take that uniform
To
moron
what?
with you. Come on. Suicide, huh? Looks like it.
Well, I always thought it was Chalmers right from the start. Now who's the Keystone cop? He don't even know Chalmers was left-handed.
Left-handed?
You gotta help the police out. You gotta throw them a bone, right?
Sure. That starts it all over again. I can remember when murders were nice, clean, simple things done with machine guns and meat axes. But this case...
All right. Nice. Can you read it? That is wild, Scott. Can you read this?
What seems to be the trouble? Battery's dead. But didn't Miss Lane get a new battery just last week?
Yeah, I don't understand it. It's bone dry. Liquid's all gone.
He's definitely a Barney Fife relative. He's definitely a Fife.
Just as I thought.
For sure.
We were right. Poison.
Spot on, Alana. Spot on.
Electrolytic liquid, sulfuric acid base, grain alcohol, 38%, distilled water, 33%, electrolytic liquid, 27% by volume. The man said a teaspoonful in a glass of water
Killer
will kill a man
cars.
dead.
That's right, Wayne.
Electrolytic acid. Help anything else? No, that was all.
These tracks were made by the killer. But these are tire tracks. Exactly.
Hey, ain't them the same kind of
It's
trick
valuable
that
skill,
brought the
Katya.
marks
God
off the Chalmers
knows.
window?
I should have learned.
cars in Hollywood
And
that
I
have that
failed.
makeup
Couldn't
tire.
do it.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
Say, golly,
I want you to get me the key to Brent's dressing room, but don't let anybody know it's for me, see?
Say, I'll get you the key to the city if you want it.
No, I have a couple of things to do. I'll meet you here in half an hour.
Okay.
Is it, Scott? You can't really feel the alcohol when the acid kicks
Just a
in.
minute.
You can drink and drink and drink and drink and never feel it. Don't try that at home. That's not an endorsement.
Why all the lots?
I was just going through some old letters and didn't want to be disturbed.
Oh, see?
Where have you been? I've been waiting all afternoon for you.
Oh, I've just been doing a little sleuthing. Martha, you trust me, don't you?
Amateur sleuthing.
Why, yes, of course.
You know I'd do anything in the world for you, don't you?
I believe you would, dear.
Then, is there anything you know about the murder of Brent that you haven't told me?
No.
I've just come from Chalmers' place.
Chemically
He's
very
dead.
exothermic.
Poison.
Okay, Scott.
You mean murder?
If it isn't that, it's a good imitation of it.
I think I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Oh, how awful.
Whoever did it used
I am going to have to
electrolytic
look that
acid.
word up.
Acid out of a battery. The unfortunate part of the whole thing is that they used your car and the acid out of your battery.
My car?
My acid?
That's why my car wouldn't start.
Yes. I only told you this because I'm afraid Sheehan will find out and arrest you on suspicion. That would mean headlines and
Who knew we were
scandal.
going to get so much acid talking this
What do you want me to do?
I want you to get out of here. Any place, just so Sheehan can't find you.
But that's running away.
But only for a day or two, just to give me time.
I'll go to Mary's at Malibu. She'll help me.
Oh, that's swell. Make it fast, will you? There's no knowing how close Sheehan's behind me. I'll telephone you when I get it all worked out. You may have a long beard by then, but I'll try and hurry. Bye-bye, sweet.
Bye-bye, sweet. Sweet what? Uh-oh. Ooh. Uh-oh. Marcia.
Come in. Leon.
Well, you're surprised that I'm here, huh?
Frankly, yes.
You haven't come to see me since Brent's accident?
I should think you'd know why.
I don't. I only know that I want to help you.
I have all the help I need.
Marcia.
He does
you
look
treat
like a
me like
butler.
this. I never said anything to you while Brent was alive. But you should know how I feel.
Uh-oh.
You succeeded in making your feelings quite plain
Classic sleazy studio head.
Marcia, I'm very fond of you.
I
Not the
wish,
kind of fondness I care about. Please go now, Leon. I'm in rather a hurry.
Bro, back off.
Marcia, maybe someday you will come to me and ask for help. Maybe you will apologize to me for laughing about how I feel for you. Perhaps Brent wasn't killed for nothing.
Yeah, Jack, that's the
No matter
comparison.
how smart they are,
He's
they always
Weinstein.
slip up.
Gross. Gross. And that is gonna take us to our second break. Well, we are 2/3 of the way through the Death Kiss, and I think it really heated up in the second part. You know, I mean, the first third really took the time to kind of explore the crime scene and kind of interrogate the witnesses and set the stage. The second act, we really got to investigate, and it was cool, you know, because you got like, you know, you had them running around the studio, and you had Chalmers saying some cryptic stuff, and And then before you know it, we got another dead body, and also under mysterious circumstances. And yeah, I mean, so far the mystery is really heating up, and do I know how it's going to play out because I've seen this before? Yes, but if you haven't seen this before, I'm sure that you're like, I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' guesses. If you haven't, if you have seen this before, don't say anything. Don't you do it. Be quiet. But if you haven't seen this before, I'm interested to know who your suspects are, because I know when I saw this, for the first time, I had no clue. You know, I was like, obviously, you know, kind of ping-ponging around. But, you know, like, the mystery is being handled very well here. And the director of tonight's film, Edwin Marin, this is his very first movie. So I think he's juggling the mystery pretty well. He would go on to do not too many horror films, but, you know, kind of, you know, worked in other genres, but, you know, in at least one film of his that I know very well brought in some good mystery. And that's a Western film with John Wayne entitled Tall in the Saddle from 1944. I have to bring this up because this is another one of my inexplicably one of my favorite movies. It's just a very, like, menial RKO Western with John Wayne. You know, it's not like a big John Wayne, like, movie, but it, you know, it's got Ward Bond and it's got Gabby Haynes, but it's more of like it's almost like a noir kind of, and it's definitely a murder mystery, and John Wayne is like the kind of the detective kind of amateur sleuth screenwriter type, essentially, in Tall in the Saddle. And he's got a love triangle that he's got to juggle, and he's, you know, it's a very, very, very good movie if you haven't seen it. And it's from the director of tonight's film. So if you haven't seen Tall in the Saddle, I highly suggest you check it out. I probably watch it once a year. Like, that's how much, like, I just, like, grew up watching it because it was recorded on a VHS tape. So I saw it a lot growing up just because it happened to be on this VHS tape. We didn't have cable, so we watched a lot of VHS tapes. So I saw Tall in the Saddle a lot, and it always stayed with me. And I think only later I realized, it's like, probably like it because it's a mystery, but it's also funny. So, you know, again, the director, Edwin Marin, that's another notable film of his. I think there was some other series he was involved in. He did also he directed Invisible Agent, which is loosely Universal horror. It's part of the Invisible Man series, but it's more of a World War II espionage thriller with an Invisible Man in it. But it's great. It's fun. Again, this may be controversial for me to say, but I think that The Invisible Man is probably the best monster series from Universal, just in terms of each movie taking the concept in a totally different direction, unique direction, fun direction, as opposed to like rehashing the same thing or just doing something that is not good or enjoyable like some of them do. But because I mean, again, like the movie before Invisible Agent was Invisible Woman, which was a screwball comedy. So we're talking about a series that it goes from horror movie to kind of like the Invisible Man Returns. It's almost like I don't know, it's almost like a drama. It's almost like a crime drama. And then Invisible Woman's a screwball, and the Invisible Agent is a war film, and then Invisible Man's Revenge is like back to like horror, but in a pulpy, fun way. So yeah, really, really, really enjoy those. But yeah, we you know me. I enjoy all these old movies. I enjoy these. And of course, you know who I really enjoy, and we haven't seen enough of, unfortunately, is Mr. Bela Lugosi, the man of the hour. We haven't seen a lot of him, which is unfortunate, because I think you can start to, But I think it does pick up in the third part here. I think we will see his character gets more involved in he becomes more of a prime suspect. No spoilers. But Lugosi, as I promised, I said we were going to talk about his love life because it is Valentine's Day tomorrow. His love life was pretty messy. I mean, if you know about, if you know just cursory information about Bela Lugosi's personal life, you know that he was married 5 times. So right from the jump, you're like, all right, well, that tells you something. His shortest marriage only lasted a few days, like 4 days, and they were done. Beatrice Weeks, who was a San Francisco socialite, that was his third wife, and she had come into a fortune from her last husband. She met Lugosi in like 29, or she met him in 28. They corresponded for a year, married in 29, and she just realized within a few days, he's a domineering. That's the thing. We see Bela as Dracula. We think of him as this kind of, even though he's a monster, he's also this kind of passionate, romantic figure, right? But he's also, as a romantic partner in real life, Lugosi was tyrannical, and he was jealous, and he was domineering. And if you were married to Lugosi, he expected you to, be subservient and to do what he wanted you to do. If you're the wife, he's the master of the house. He's in charge. And so, Lugosi obviously, that was kind of probably explains why he ended up being married 5 times. His first marriage kind of ended in part because he had to flee Hungary. And then his second marriage, that was in the United States. It didn't last too long. Third marriage we talked about. Fourth marriage happened the year that tonight's film was released. And that was his longest marriage. It was 20 years. But, Lugosi kind of, he was suave, he was debonair. He looked good for his age. But he did have a taste in younger women. So the wife that he was married to the longest, Lillian, was 30 years younger than him. But she was Hungarian American. Like most of his wives were Hungarian. Like he very much kind of enjoyed being around, there was a Hungarian community in Hollywood. He was very active in that. And, that was just kind of something that, his homeland was important to him. But, that was his longest marriage was to Lillian. And, and that was his son. That was when his son Bela G. Lugosi was born. Of course, later on, a famous lawyer but a lawyer who tried to argue for celebrity rights after, their death, like studios not being able to profit on them. He lost the case that he was arguing for his own, they lost the Lugosi case, but California law was established after that kind of said that the heirs have the rights to the likenesses. So, Lugosi, at least he, he found some peace. Later on, he got divorced from Lillian. That was when he was kind of later in his career and had trouble with the morphine thing and, and then divorced and was married again briefly for about a year until he died. And was his wife at that time, Hope, they were in the process of talking about getting divorced. And then he said, then he died. So there was no need at that point. But, you know, Lugosi really, Lugosi's, you know, his romantic life, his married life was obviously turbulent, but, you know, there are also some tabloid rumors about Lugosi's romantic life, but we'll get into that after the break. I've got a couple little tidbits for you. With a very famous Hollywood actress you may have heard about, a certain rumor, and then something I didn't know until I read today. I've never seen this. I doubt it's true. I'm sure it's just tabloid junk, but I'll share it with you after the break. It'll be a lot of fun. For this break, we've got 2 Lugosi trailers from, you know, the year that this was produced. And this was Lugosi's kind of heyday, if you want to call it that. Well, not heyday. Like, he was coming off of Dracula, and then White Zombie was released early in the year. That was actually a huge success, like, comparatively to the budget, and it was an independent production. Like, White Zombie did big business. And then he did Murders in the Rue Morgue for Universal as Dr. Miracle. We saw the trailer for that earlier. No, we didn't, because we're going to see the trailer for that during this break. And we're also going to see the trailer for White Zombie. Those are the 2 like big marquee films that he did in the year 1932. But unfortunately, you know, you would think that'd be good for him financially, but it wasn't. But we'll talk about that after the break. So we're going to get these 2 Lugosi trailers. And then when we come back, we're going to get into the exciting conclusion, solving the mystery of the death kiss. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Dr. Miracle in the Rue Morgue is guilty of 4 murders so far this week, and by now perhaps a 5th.
From Haiti, land of the voodoo, comes the most infamous cult of all. Bela Lugosi as Murder Legendre.
I see death.
Master of the undead damned. The sinister power behind the White Zombie.
Zombies? Yes, they are my servants.
This soul killer takes men from their graves to be his slaves. His instruments of terror, and now this fiend plots to possess a woman.
Only a
Perhaps a flower. Keep it, monsieur. Keep it. You may change your mind.
Not dead. Are you mad? I saw her die. The doctor signed the certificate. I saw them bury her.
Captive in the borderland between life and death. Her brain drained of the life spark. The white zombie obeys the unholy commands of her demon master. As mindless creatures carry out his cursed will, terror explodes in horror and heartquake.
Zombie! Allez vite! Allez!
Never eyes so evil, never powers so potent, never magic so black. Bela Dracula Lugosi as the master of the white zombie.
And we are back. So that was the trailers for Murders in the Rue Morgue and White Zombie. And both pretty solid. Lugosi, I don't know if you can call him the lead in... I mean, really, he's not the romantic lead, certainly. I mean, he's the villain. But I mean, you know, he's the villain, right? I mean, he gets to take center stage. But you know, that year, like, you know, those movies came out. Island of Lost Souls, which we saw a trailer for earlier. He wasn't a lead in that, but that came out in 1932. He was working a lot, so you would have thought that financially he would have been doing pretty well. But actually, in 1932, the year that tonight's film was produced, he had filed for bankruptcy and was in for about almost $3,000 in liabilities at that time, which would be about $70,000 in debt today. And he had about at that time was like $600 in assets, so couldn't be more than a couple thousand. So, and it was mostly like clothes and furniture. So that was, you know, as much as Lugosi worked, he was really never given like a star salary, and certainly never under contract in a way that like Karloff was, or that, you know, Chaney eventually was. You know, he never got paid like that. Studios really did not want to pay him, and they tried to find ways out of paying him. And it was only because of certain filmmakers who realized how, like, you know, useful Lugosi was, how good he was at what he was doing. It's like again, Roland V. Lee in Son of Frankenstein. Igor was not supposed to be a big character. He wasn't supposed to be on set for more than a day. And then Roland V. Lee, the director, was like, we got to use this. And so he just figured out a way to keep putting Lugosi in the movie and building Igor into the major character that Igor became. And obviously you wouldn't have that movie. I mean, Karloff really couldn't do anything, you know? Igor is the one pulling the strings. And that was, you know, that was really when Lugosi, I mean, after tonight's film, I mean, you know, don't get me wrong, like, he was in The Black Cat, which also has David Manners and is one of my favorites. If you haven't seen The Black Cat, that's another one you need to put on the list. The original, the 34 version, not the 41 version that Lugosi's also in, but just playing a butler. Let's not even talk about Lugosi Butler roles. We're on a Lugosi in his heyday. So on that note, we're about to get into the exciting conclusion of The Death Kiss. And again, Lugosi, he's been kind of sitting back. We're going to see him take a more prominent role here in the third act. So Scott, he and Karloff, really, it's so funny how Karloff did get favored in terms of the opportunities that he got compared to what Lugosi got. And it sucks because Karloff's good. I don't think anybody here has anything negative to say about Karloff, but Lugosi in comparison got shafted for sure. In terms of talent. And I think Lugosi just, being a very proud Hungarian man, he didn't mince words. He probably rubbed people the wrong way. And he probably, obviously, he had many marriages. Financially, he had problems. Obviously, Lugosi, if he would have gotten better opportunities, he probably could have had a more stable life. But on the other hand, were there things about Lugosi's personality and the way that he interacted with people in charge that prevented him from getting the opportunities that Karloff got? I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of biographical information that I haven't read that would give you a better insight into why their careers diverged so much in the way they did. But the last thing, I almost forgot this. I'd be remiss. Just to say that the last romantic thing I have on Lugosi for, as we get into Valentine's Day tomorrow, is the very popular rumor that he had an affair at a certain point with the it girl, Clara Bow, who was one of the biggest stars of the late 20s, early 30s. And if you've seen the movie Babylon, the character that Margot Robbie plays is somewhat based off of Clara Bow and other actresses like her at the time. There's rumor that they had a fling, and there were tabloid stories that said that Lugosi's third wife, who was the one that they were only married for 4 days, in the divorce proceedings, she said that Clara Bow was the other woman. There's no direct evidence of that. It's kind of tabloid stories. There's no direct evidence that Lugosi or Clara Bow ever had an affair. There was this portrait that Lugosi had hanging in his living room for his entire life of a nude woman that many people said that he said was Clara Bow, that he told his wives who lived with that painting hanging above them. He told his wives, this is Clara Bow. And they lived with that painting in there. You'll see pictures of Lugosi with his wife and his kid, and then right above them is this nude woman. Apparently it's not Clara Bow. It doesn't look like Clara Bow, but he told people it was Clara Bow, so that just added to the stories of this rumor. And they did meet when he was on a stage tour of Dracula in the late 20s. She did go backstage and greet him, and then he did stay at her house one time with many other people. I don't know, maybe something could have happened, but it wasn't like an affair. It wasn't like this thing, at the very least. But the tabloids said that, so that's something I think I've even said in the past on the show. So I wanted to clarify that, that I don't believe there's a lot of hard evidence that they ever had an affair. It's possible, but it might have just been like a very short fling. I don't know. So I said the last thing. The very last thing, I was that new woman. Lugosi, the last thing that I read in a tabloid about Lugosi before we get into the movie was that apparently he had won 17 duels back in Hungary, and during his matinee idol days. So that's How wild. 17 duels. And it said, not all of them ended in death or, without a gun being raised. But still, a duel is a duel. What? That's just tabloid fodder. But it is funny to think that Lugosi back in Hungary was so much of a Lothario that he was involved in 17 duels. That just sounds like an absurd comedy sketch. It just sounds like something that's not real. So it sounds like tabloid stuff. But again, he was a Lothario. He was That's right, Jenna. Yes, Karloff did. Yeah, Karloff did have many ex-wives or mini wives as well. Yeah, both those guys. Huh. I need to be reading some more bios on Lugosi and Karloff. I've read enough articles to give me enough information, but I haven't dug in. There are plenty of bios on the guys. I need to buy them and read them. So and then I can report back to you. But I love when you guys can teach me some stuff. So I'm not going to yap anymore. I've been yapping long enough. We got to get into the conclusion of this movie. I know I've been yapping on way too long. So again, if you haven't seen this before, you don't know who it is, let me know in the chat your suspect, your prime suspect. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the exciting conclusion of The Death Kiss. Right. Hold on, my remote app.
Pardon me. Hello? Yes,
Hang
sir.
on.
I will. Well, wait a minute. Here she is now. Miss Lane, Mr. Steiner would like to see you in his office.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jenna. Lugosi did have to phonetically.
What's your name?
Mr. Wheatcroft.
Learn his lines
Mr.
initially.
Todd, please.
For Dracula, especially.
Mr. Wheatcroft calling to see you.
That was what Clara Bow
All right,
apparently was fascinated by when she. This was verified that she saw him backstage and was like,
Pull down that blind.
"How do you do it? You can't speak English, right? How do you?" And he's like, "I just go off the cues, but I learned my lines phonetically."
When he came in?
I see everybody.
What kind of a suit did he have on?
Yep, that's right. Yep, Scott.
There it is.
That's right. Which, yeah, Wayne, maybe that's Tall Tale. Who knows?
Funny she and Miss looking in here.
Yeah, thanks for the glove slap, Jack.
See what those letters are.
Here's one from a dame named Agnes.
Agnes who?
She ain't that dumb. She don't say much.
She ain't that dumb.
Except that she can't live without him. Married, too. Says her husband don't understand her. Well, that's that old story. 2 men and a woman. The internal triangle.
What?
What kind of a place is the Cliffside Inn?
Oh, one of those weekend places with all the Mr. Smiths and Mr. Jones and Mr. Browns.
How far is Ocean View from here? Why? I'm beginning to think there's a woman in the case.
No. Mr. Drew, this case is becoming complicated. Even for me.
Come on.
Gee, it's 4:30. I gotta check in on my next shift. Listen, don't go away without me, will you?
All right, Gully. I'll pick you up
That's
the
very
gate when I
good,
go
Jack.
out.
Boy, oh boy.
I need to get back in. I need to do a Simpsons
Miss Lane
rewatch
wants to see
sometime
you.
soon.
She's in Mr. Steiner's office.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Go right in, Mr. Drew.
When did you find out your car wouldn't start?
About an hour ago.
Well, with all your dabbling, you didn't throw us off.
You've thrown yourself off if you think Miss Lane had anything to do with Chalmers or Brent either.
All right, all right. Just sit down there. And keep quiet. Where did you go this afternoon?
I went downtown.
In your car?
Yes,
Where did you park it?
on the street.
Park.
In front of Elsmith's flower shop. I ordered some flowers for Miles. Mr. Brent's funeral.
Then where did you go? You went to Chalmers' house, didn't you?
Wait a minute. I won't stand for this. You can't trick Miss Lane into answers. And have little boy Blue over there take him down.
Now keep quiet, Drew.
Why are you picking on him?
Get at the bottom of this.
Oh, no, you're not. Sheehan's trying to force Miss Lane into admissions of things she's never done.
She might as well talk here as downtown. I've got a warrant for her.
For what?
Suspicion of murder.
What's your theory?
It's as simple as ABC.
Yes, it would be if you thought of it.
All right.
Chalmers killed Brent because he hated him and she offered him money. Then she got frightened and killed Chalmers, thinking that he would get drunk and give it away. Every piece of evidence we have got points to her. It was her cigarette that blew up the film, her car that made the tracks outside of Chalmers' house, and acid from her battery that killed him.
Oh, that's a lot of bunk. I know, you've got to make an arrest. It's okay with you.
She's the acid queen.
Tina, you can't sit there and let them arrest Marcia. Well, she has nothing more to do with these murders than Lincoln had to do with the burning of Rome.
Mr. Drew, we don't know whether Lincoln burned Rome or not, and we don't care. But this man is a policeman, so let us hear what he has to say.
You're not paying you to quarrel with the police.
Oh, I don't care if you pay me a dime. Sheehan, if you arrest Miss Lane now, there'll be a lot of nasty newspaper headlines. Hold off for 24 hours and I'll be responsible. Better than that. In 24 hours, I'll prove that she's innocent.
You're making yourself ridiculous.
I'm trying to protect one of your stars.
Wait a minute, Steiner. Maybe he's right. What about this scandal? What about her box of his name? Ain't they got enough trouble here already without having Marcia arrested?
Now, Mr. Grossmith, if you want to accept the responsibility, you can. But remember, this is a murder case. 2 people are dead. And how do you know someone else won't be killed? For my part, I believe that the police should not be interfered with.
From his adoring Agnes.
All I gotta say is that it's a terrible calamity.
Let's go, Hilliker. I guess the explosion's over.
Someone in this studio killed Miles Brent and Chalmers. And he's trying to pin it on Marcia Lane. But they won't get away with it.
Come on, Miss Lane.
Marcia, honey, I'm sorry. I'll get you out of this just as soon as I can.
I know you will, Frank. I'm not worried, really.
Come on.
I'm calm, cool, and collected.
I expect electric. I read all about it here.
I hope she calls the lawyer and not just the screenwriter. Yeah, that's what I said earlier too. Agnes, Agnes, Agnes.
How do you do, sir? How do you do? I'm from the
Agnes.
publicity office of the Tone Art Studios. Yes? I'd like to see a list of the people who sent flowers to the Brent funeral. Oh, I think I have a list. Thanks.
What a snoop.
Terrible thing, the Brent murder, wasn't it? I hear they arrested Marcia Lane.
Yes, I guess she'll be one who won't send flowers.
Oh, yes, she will. She was in here early this afternoon and ordered a big wreath.
Oh, is that so?
They are mostly women.
Surprising so many of them gave their names.
Oh, some of them didn't. There was a lady in here just now who signed the check, then thought better of it and tore it up.
Didn't want the husband to see the canceled check.
Perhaps. Oh, pardon me. Yes, madame?
Now's your chance. Go get that check. Cash it, cash it. Wow, she did a terrible job tearing it up, huh? Agnes Steiner. But we all know who Steiner is, don't we? Don't we? Okay, hell yeah.
Oh, good evening.
Evening.
Alone?
Yes, I'm not stopping.
Oh.
I have a key here. A friend of mine carried away with him.
Oh, thank you.
My name's Drew. I'm from the Tone Art Studios. I'd like to keep this thing quiet.
Keep what quiet?
Brent's visit here the night before he was murdered. You see, if the papers get hold of a story like this, they play it up, and it's bad for the picture business.
Well, it doesn't do us any good either.
All right, let's get together.
Sure, what do you want?
Who was the woman with Brent?
Mrs. Brent?
There is no Mrs. Brent. They were divorced.
Well, then I don't know who she is. You see, I wasn't here when they checked in, and they left in such a hurry I didn't see them go out.
In a hurry? Why?
Well, a fellow came in here and started a row, and then he waited in that telephone booth over there, and when they came down, he stepped out. At least that's what Charlie says.
Who's Charlie?
One of the night bellhops.
Could I see him?
Sure.
You're always going to get the juiciest info from the night
Charlie.
bellhop.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
You can do it, Alana. You can do it. Alana, I'll yell. I'll whatever
you
you
remember
need.
seeing
I'm
the man
gonna
who
keep
waited
you-
for Miles Brent in the telephone booth the other
Keep
night?
you awake.
I just got a glimpse of him before the fight.
I don't know if I can do better than
What fight?
Adderall, but I'll
when
try.
Brent hit him in the patio.
Who is this?
How did it happen?
Well, the lady ran out to the car when she saw the guy come out of the booth.
Saw the guy.
Then the guy steps up to Mr. Brent and says, "Brent, I want to see you." I thought it sounded kind of silly because he was seeing him right there.
Well, then what happened?
Well, Brent takes the guy outside in the patio. That's when he socked him.
Well, then did Brent get into his car?
Yeah, and the other guy picked himself up. Boy, was he mad. And was his face red.
What did he say?
What didn't he say? It was awful. And then he beats it.
Would you remember this man if you saw him again?
Well, I might. And then again, I might not. It all happened so fast.
Would you remember the lady?
Sure. Say, she was a honey.
Pinch her, Kathy.
Kind of funny. You know, like she was a foreigner or something.
With an accent?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine, Charlie. You've been a big help to me.
There, yep,
Yeah.
that confirms
Thanks.
it, Thomas. That's right.
Good night. Thanks.
Good night. Say, are you a detective?
No, I'm just from the studio.
Will there be detectives here?
I hope not.
Call for Mr. Wallace. Calling Mr.
Look at that
Wallace.
staircase. That's a nice staircase. Too bad nobody's using it.
Which booth did that fellow hide in?
There.
How long has it been out of order?
Just since the guy hit him there. I guess he kept pounding on the hook trying to get Brent's room.
Uh-oh, here's a clue. Yeah, Alana, this would be the perfect time for Sears to come in.
Already this picture cost me $239,351.
That would wake you up for sure.
Better I put my money in the bank. Can I get any interest from my shelf?
I'm not asking you to lose anything. But how can we finish the picture without Brent?
I've told you 17 times that we can use a double.
And play the whole kissing scene in a long shot?
Hell of a
It's
suggestion
all wrong.
coming from
It's terrible.
Lugosi.
I've got my reputation to think of.
And
I got my money to
most
think
of
of.
you
Money,
should know
money. What's money?
Now, just a minute. Now, let's take it calmly. New York office is of the opinion that the murder of Brent won't hurt the picture if we can release it soon enough. Now, why not shoot that scene using a double and wind it up? It's the last scene in the picture. It can't possibly do you any harm.
Exactly. Steiner's got right.
Yep, if it's in
Oh, all
cursive,
right.
we
What's
can't
his
read it. What are we going to
Good.
do?
We can get the company together and shoot it tonight.
Oh, wait a minute. What about Marcia?
Oh, we can arrange with she and use her for that one scene.
Yeah?
She can come over with the whole police department if he likes. Everybody's on call and everything on the set is standing. We can shoot it in half an hour. Dad, hold on a minute. What time?
7:30.
Say 9:30.
Make it 9 o'clock. We'll save a half hour.
Nice.
Dad,
Not a
we're
studio
going to
head
shoot
for
the last
nothing.
scene of the death kiss tonight. Round up the company for a 9 o'clock call.
Sure, Mr. Steiner. Mac, we're retaking the death kiss. Get busy on the call.
Okay.
Wild. They're starting production back up.
Yes, I'll have him all right. But say, what about Miss Lane?
Yeah. She's in jail. What do you mean you obtain?
Silk on that 36.
Hey, Mac, will you put that light over in there? Screen that 80, will you?
The irony is that Lugosi himself was doubled after his death in Plan 9 from Ed Wood.
Good evening.
It's my best
You know
Greg
Miss Avery? Yes,
Turkington
of course.
impression
How are
if there are any on cinema.
I'm surprised you've come to see this retake.
Put it down to morbid curiosity. That's the woman of it. She insisted on coming.
Now, come along with me. I'll make you comfortable. He's very good with the ladies.
Very good with the ladies. All right. The killer steps slowly into the... Oh, wait, no, that's not the killer. That's Franklin. Franklin...
For the last time you did this scene, folks.
Yeah, very accurate film set. This is...
Watch out.
Rabble,
Get over
rabble.
there, 16 to 12, yeah.
Hey, we're gonna take the whole scene over again.
All right.
Huh? How much are these?
We have 42 trucks here.
Gulliver, do you know where Mr. Drew is?
He went away and left me after him promising he wouldn't.
Well, do you know where he went?
I got an idea, but I can't tell.
Well, do you know when he'll be back?
I don't know.
He'll turn up. You can't lose that guy.
Pinch me,
We're ready
Kathy.
for
Come on,
rehearsals,
Alana. We're
Dave.
almost there. They were almost there.
Go ahead.
So close.
We'll wait here.
Thank you.
Don't you
And
want
just
to
as you
know
reach
who the
here,
killer
Miss
is?
Lean steps up and kisses you. Now, naturally, you're surprised because you don't know her. Then you turn, read your line to the doorman, and walk out to the curb.
Right.
Oh my God, he looks like the same guy. They found a great double.
I'm so sorry about him.
Probably not
I
hard
know
to
it's gonna be
find
difficult for
men
you,
with a pencil
I'll try to help you
mustache and, you know, dark eyebrows. Like, that's really all they needed. You put him in the top hat and the coat.
Shall we try it once?
I mean...
Oh, George, let's have quiet, please.
You got your double.
Quiet. Rehearsal. Take your places, please. Get 'em all. Sound ready for rehearsal? Okay. Camera.
This business gives me a funny feeling.
What do you mean?
I don't know, it just gives me a funny feeling, that's all. Supposing it should happen somebody else is shot.
It's ridiculous.
Well, maybe it is and maybe it ain't. Anyway, I don't like the set and I don't like the title of the picture. The Death Kiss. Yeah. From now on, we have no more titles with death in it.
Getting superstitious?
Say, you ain't got no nerves. Well, I ain't afraid either, but I'm just a little scared, that's all.
What can possibly happen?
That's it, anything.
I must have been overlooked.
There's like a meta quality to it all that's very funny, you know. We're watching a movie called The
What's the matter
Death
now?
Kiss, about the making of a movie called The Death Kiss.
Well, go ahead and fix it the way you want it.
Curly meta. Before they even knew what meta was.
Now down a little closer. There. Is that in your picture?
No, you're safe there.
Okay, test it.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Microphone number 2.
All right, let's go.
Microphone
Okay for
number
sound.
2. Uh-oh. Wait, is he actually outside or is he on a set? I can't tell.
Well, Lieutenant, can I see you a minute?
Well, if it isn't our little mystery
He's
writer.
on set, okay.
I knew you'd turn up. Have you solved it?
Come over here a minute.
No,
What's the
Alana,
revelation?
it's Lynch. It's got to be
Well, I went through the
Lynch.
clothes that Brent wore the night before he was murdered.
So Lynch.
I found a room key to the Cliffside
But
Inn
I
in his
see
pocket.
your Inception and
I
Inception.
went up to the inn and found that he'd registered there the night before as Mr. and Mrs. Brent.
Not unusual for him, was it?
No,
feel that.
but the husband of the woman that was with him waited for Brent in the telephone booth
I
in
don't
the
know,
lobby.
they, you know.
When Brent came down, they had a
Some
fight.
Mulholland
Brent beat him up and left
Drive
with the woman.
vibes.
Now, there's your motive. The fellow who hid in the telephone booth is the fellow who murdered Brent.
It's a motive, sure. But it seems to me that everyone around here had a motive.
Yes, but this same man knew a lot about electricity and a lot about
Drop
film.
the beat. Let's
Now,
rap.
Chalmers couldn't have thrown that cigarette butt in the film because he was nowhere around at the time. Marcia couldn't have poured acid on a negative. Well, she knows less about film than you do. But this same fellow, whoever it was, found out that Chalmers had discovered his contraption in the lamp, stole Marcia's car, took acid again, Dr. Chalmers' gin, and then returned the car.
Took acid
Why did he take
again?
Miss Lane's car?
To give himself a double-headed out. If you believed that suicide gag, well, that was the end of it. If you didn't, everything pointed to Marcia. Whatever happened, he wouldn't be suspected.
Yeah? But you have got to show me that the guy who was at the inn is someone here at the studio, and that he had access to the light, the film, the car, and everything else.
Well, that's easy. The man who hid in the telephone booth left this trademark.
What's this?
Oh, you know as well as I do. The scribblings a man makes on a piece of paper are as identifying as his signature.
Oh. Now all we've got to do is to find the guy that scribbles like this, huh?
Well, I've done that, too.
Oh, wow, man, this is crazy. Everything's breathing right now, man.
Where did you get
Walls
this?
are breathing.
Grossmith's office. Now, Avery,
Don't get me
Steiner,
started
Grossmith,
on
and
that.
Howell were in there having a conference.
Then you think one of those four killed Brent?
Yes.
This is interesting. But I've only your word for it, and that don't count for much. Well, I'll keep your paper dolls. But you have got to get me more substantial evidence than this.
Bro, he's
before I
been
can let
right
Miss
every
Lane
step
go.
of the way. Just let him do it. Make your life easier. Spend your time on other cases. He's got
Take good care of these guns, boys, and don't forget to check them back to me.
All right.
Thank you.
not a lot of good protocol there.
Sure the gun isn't loaded?
You bet not. I just looked at it.
Mind if I look?
Not at all.
Clear to you? All right, we'll take it.
Is everybody ready? Let's make it.
Johnson, powder up, will you please?
Sure.
Free guns.
Thanks.
Frank, I've been so worried about you.
Darling, I'm hot on the trail. I've got an idea. And if I'm right, I'll have this whole thing wrapped up and tied before you know it.
But don't go away before I'm through, will you?
Oh, you bet I won't.
Miss Lane, will you stand on a minute, please?
See you later.
Dang, he's like getting hot. He's like, he's
Isn't
all
loaded, is it?
What do you think? I'm crazy?
Mind if I look?
You know,
Oh, go ahead.
flaming up, solving this case, can get
Thanks.
the girl. He's ready to go. Yep, that's a gun.
Say, Bill, those aren't the same guns you used before, are they?
I know I couldn't get 38s before, so I slipped in 45s. Nobody knew the difference.
Do you mean 38s were called for before?
Yeah, they made a row about it.
Who insisted on it?
Okay, coming up.
Come on with me.
Oh my God.
Listen, I've got it. This is Bill, the property man. He tells me on the day that Brent was murdered, he was definitely ordered to give all the extras 38 caliber guns.
Yeah?
Did you get it? 38 caliber guns were ordered. Now, if Bill had supplied them, we'd have never known that it wasn't an
Yeah,
accident.
you always got to be careful with a live mic on set. Somebody's always listening.
But he didn't. He substituted 45s. That's how we knew it was a murder. Now, the fellow who ordered those 38s...
Say, who ordered those guns?
The puka.
Go ahead, Bill, tell him.
As Harvey was on TCM the other week. I hadn't seen it in a while. I loved it. Love Harvey.
Lights, give me a light! Here you are, kids. Come on! There he is!
Beep, beep, beep. That's right.
There he goes! Up those stairs! Quick, step right
pandemonium. It's pandemonium here in the studio.
Stay where you are, I'll shoot.
Oh no, he's out. Oh no! Dead. He's freaking dead.
Avery.
Mr. Avery.
So he's the one that ordered the
Avery,
guns.
Avery,
Yes, and
Mr.
told you
Avery.
about him under the microphone. He was listening in with the earphones.
So it was him.
Don't look at him now. He's dead.
Dead. Yes. I'm glad.
A woman at the Cliffside Inn, huh?
You stay here,
What?
Hilliker. Come on, go with me.
God. What now?
I got him. I got him.
Oh no. God dang it. Of course.
There's your man. Who is he?
You'll suffer for this, you
Hmm.
despicable cad.
So, you're a policeman.
Cad? Hey, he helped. Oh, fuck you guys. You guys suck. Bullies, man. Bullies. That's some bullshit.
I think I owe apologies to Miss Lane and to you too. I'm sorry that I was so unpleasant.
You know, at first I could have sworn it was you.
I knew it, and it made me quite angry. But you're much more clever than I gave you credit for.
Well, that sounds like a new contract.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Lieutenant, would you mind telling me why it is that detectives always wear their hats, even in the presence of ladies?
Well, sure. That's so we won't have anything in our hands or arms in case we have to use them.
That's one for the book. Do you mind if I write it in right now?
Wink. Wow. Okay. Wow, my goodness. Well, that was the death kiss. And as you can see, the kiss was pretty deadly. Yeah, I mean, pretty enjoyable murder mystery. Plenty happening. I mean, again, this is a show, the Scream Stream. We are watching so many public domain murder mysteries where nothing happens, or, you know, it's just kind of, it's so contained to the point that there's a monotony that sets in, right? Especially when it's like an old dark house film where we're just trapped in a house, and especially if it's a Poverty Row movie, nothing's going on. At least here, we go to the studio, we go to people's houses, we go to a motel, you know, we're moving around a lot. And the studio's just a big location, expansive location in and of itself, definitely more so than a house. So, you know, pretty good. Yeah, 5 acid-soaked fedoras. Yeah, no, that's right, Scott. I think it's funny because, like, it's been a while since I've seen this, so I can't see like that it holds up as much as when I was the last, like, I'm pretty sure I only watched it really all the way through beginning to end the one time when I was like 13 or 14, and I enjoyed it then. So, you know, you always have that where you see a movie when you're younger, and you know, years down the road, you revisit that movie and you're like, it's okay. It's not as good as I remembered at the time. But, you know, I mean, hey, compared to Lugosi's many other Poverty Row movies, not bad. And like I said, compared to the other mystery films that we've seen, and especially like last week's mystery film where the mystery was not solved, at least here it was solved. No. And just to see the cast from Dracula, a portion of them reunited again, makes for an interesting dynamic in and of itself. So I really appreciate everybody tuning in tonight, hanging out, and I mean, it's been a good way to conclude the season. It's funny because Lugosi really didn't take a prominent role here. This is kind of the start of Lugosi as the red herring, which you'll know was kind of a regular part of his career after a certain point. Many of the movies that he's cast in and that we've seen on the show, he's the butler and he's creepy but ultimately he's harmless. And so this is kind of like in a prototype of that. And obviously the serial that he was in the year that this was released, which we've seen previously in the show, The Whispering Shadow. I mean, Lugosi, that was just kind of a thing. No spoilers, but Lugosi is the ultimate red herring. They can kind of have him, skulking around in the background and nothing doing. He's sinister, right, Scott? So ultimately, he's always giving it his all. He's always making you think it's him, even when it's not him. But this is one of those that I enjoyed, and so I'd kind of been saving it to an extent. It's funny because I was looking at it today and realized that we don't have that many Lugosi movies left to choose from. What we do have is Dracula entering the public domain in 2 years. So, we've got plenty of movies to take us to then. Will we still be going? I don't know. The plan is to keep on keeping on. So, when Dracula does enter the public domain, we'll be here, hopefully. And you will just keep getting Lugosi movies to choose from as the years go by. We're gonna be reeling in the years. But in terms of what's public domain up to this point, where the well is it's getting low. So I've got to pick and choose, but we've still got some interesting ones. But this was, it's a pretty solid one. And again, it concludes our 12th season of the show. And so obviously tomorrow's Valentine's Day. So we will be running a movie marathon of romantically themed, not themed, but films with romantic angles, love triangles, killer couples, killer spouses, things like that. Dan did not appreciate you stealing that. That's very good, Alana. That's great. No, he didn't. Because Steely Dan's a guy, right? Steely Dan's a band? What? Yeah, I did a marathon last year for Valentine's Day, so we'll do another one this year, and it'll start, I don't know, kind of early, middle of the day, and it'll go all day. I've already got the movies picked out. So if you don't have any plans or you're just sitting around the house not doing anything, look for something to get into, we'll be here. And then Saturday, we'll have some Saturday night shockers for you. And then the next, what am I saying tomorrow? I keep thinking, well, it is technically Friday no, it's not Friday yet. It's 11:37 in my neck of the woods. But so, Saturday, 2 days from now, we'll have a Saturday night shocker. And then next week, we'll either be off or we'll do a installment of a game show that we're trying to workshop, entitled Wheel of Movies, which we've done a couple installments of before. And We're trying to figure out how to get you guys involved, like make you guys players if you want to play Wheel of Movies. But I have to tweak the game. But traditionally, Evan just plays, or, you know, when I've had other people on the show, like the people that I'm with, they play, and I'm kind of the game host. But I'd love for you guys to play. So I don't know, you know, if you want to check out any of our past the most recent Wheel of Movies, I got to see if it's up live. I'm not sure. We ended up so the way the Wheel of Movies works is we play a game, and through that game, we pick a public domain movie to watch out of like 10 movies to choose from. And like, they're from different genres. And it's a little convoluted. I'm trying to figure out how to make it less convoluted. But I tried the last game that we played, tried to make it about your journey through copyright law and your journey through the public domain. So you have to journey from being in the public domain to, like, you know, getting your rights. I don't know. If it's up, you'll be able to see it. But we're looking at maybe trying to do another Wheel of Movies. So I'll keep you guys posted. But then we'll take a week off, and then we will start season 13 on March the 7th. So that is also my birthday. So it's pretty good that we're starting season 13, which, you know, just such a reverent number in horror movie culture to begin with. So it seems fitting that we would be kicking off the season on my birthday. So looking forward to starting up season 13. I don't know what movie yet, but I'm kind of thinking about going big since it's my birthday and it's season 13. There's obviously a pretty big public domain horror movie that we haven't done yet. I've talked, I think, recently about, I don't know when to do it, but I want to do it. I've been wanting to save it, but I think now may be the time to do it. Seminal film, but I won't spoil it. I'll leave it as a surprise if you don't know. I'll leave you to guess. And I may change my mind, but we'll see. So that'll premiere March 7th. We'll be live, of course. But before then, we'll try some Wheel movies. So I'll keep you posted about that. We'll maybe, if I've got to workshop some stuff before we play, maybe I'll go live, and if anybody's around, just pick people's brains. I don't know. I want it to be good. I want it to be fun. I don't want it to be a slog. So we'll see. But I really, 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 really appreciate everybody tuning in tonight, tuning in all season. You guys got us to 1,000 subscribers. That was a big fucking deal for us. I mean, obviously on the YouTube scale, it's small potatoes, but it meant a lot to get there. And obviously all of our friends from the Drunk Review helped us, you know, cross the finish line for sure. And obviously, you know, the kind of day oneers, or at least the audience that has been around for the last year, Alana and Kathy and your crew. It's, again, this year has been really great in terms of finding people that love these movies, these silly little old movies, and joking around and having a good time and just socializing and, you know, enjoying what is free for all of us to enjoy here in the public domain. So again, everybody that tuned in tonight, Jack, Alana, Kathy, Wayne, Jenna, and I'm like, this is like always tough because then I gotta, like, Scott, Thomas, of course, I know Kat was in here for a little bit. Oh my gosh, my good buddy, I know, Wolf Cat we had. I don't like to forget anybody, so if I forgot you, I'm sorry. But I really, really, really appreciate everybody that hopped in the chat, and even if you didn't hop in the chat, appreciate you just tuning in. I mean, again, the more the merrier. It's a pretty good crew here, and I'm really thrilled that we've added to it recently, and I hope that you guys stick around for what's to come, because it's gonna be fun and silly, and just a good way to hang out and spend your Friday nights, or in tonight's case, your Thursday night, just whatever the week dictates. But we really appreciate everybody watching tonight. And again, we'll be live tomorrow. We'll be live Saturday. Drunk Review's going to be doing their thing, so go check them out this weekend. And I mean, again, until and I'll be like in the chat tomorrow and on Saturday a little bit, so I'll chat with you guys. But until the Will of Movies, and then until March, I'm gonna make sure I got my until then, sweet screams, everybody.